If you're playing together over a longer period, obviously it makes it better. But as you can see, the game has evolved in such a way that no team is seen as an underdog right now. So even though Belgium have all these star-studded players individually, they've not really managed to keep that unit collective efficiently, and as a result of that, I think their results are showing. I mean, they're not winning, and at the end of the day, you're judged based on winning.
Yeah, and Camps, same for you. You concur with what Wayne has to say regarding Belgium and everything.
Yeah, they're just not. They don't have any chemistry. They're just not pulling together. Yeah, I just don't feel like they just don't have it together. But they're great players by themselves. Kevin De Bruyne, best in the world. They have Vertonghen, the
Courtois.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely,
just won the Champions League.
There you go. So
come on.
So it's not just about the talent individually. It means that when you come to these tournaments, because most teams are fired up. Fired up when it comes on to tournaments like these. Yeah. And this is the biggest showpiece in the world. So obviously you're going to find that nobody is fearful of anybody. I mean, as big as Courtois is in goal, somebody's going to find the back of the net. Exactly. They're willing. So and they want to scalp the big team. So definitely you find that that's what makes the sport so interesting and tournaments like these.
All right, so our producers will let us know quite shortly once they have Carl Terrell with us so that he can be able to go a little bit deeper into everything in relation to the World Cup. He's supposed to be logging on in just a moment or so. So we had a discussion with Belgium, Morocco. The opening game of the day as well, Owen, gave us some shocks. Costa Rica is in a victory. We saw the Japanese.
CONCACAF. It was very, very good, if you ask me, for CONCACAF, considering that Canada made their exit and Canada was playing some really good football. But Costa Rica, I find that in that first game, and the reason why the result is so important, because after coming off a drubbing, for you to bounce back and win a game, to actually stay in the game for that long and then to go on and win it, speaks volumes. It speaks to their character and their level of tenacity. Any other team, 7-0, we're looking to pack it in right now. Consolidate. Let's just be safe. But I think they've done well, and the Costa Ricans is a testament, I think, of years upon playing a particular system. These players have been playing together for quite some time, and I think making a run deep in the tournament for them is probably a vision. Coming out of the first round obviously would be a goal for them, because I think Costa Rica wasn't the greatest in CONCACAF qualifying. So for them to be here now and still have a chance of making it through, I think is very good, very, very good for Costa Rica and CONCACAF.
Okay, and your thoughts as well, Camps?
Well, I didn't get to see the game exactly, but it's good that they came back and pull off a win. Because after the first game, they just weren't it, and but in that second game, it's good that they got a win. I didn't really get to see the highlights or anything, but really show that they have some fight in them.
Yeah, Keishore Fuller getting on the score sheet for the Costa Ricans there. A man who was born in Costa Rica to Jamaica, and his grandparents actually left Jamaica and helped to build the Panama Canal, and after that they decided to move west, and that is the reason why they ended up in Costa Rica. There's a little town in Costa Rica called Limon, and players such as Joel Campbell, Keishore Fuller, and many, many others, even Paolo Wanchop, born in that particular era. So Jamaicans having an impact at the World Cup, even though they might not be there. We can go to the England squad, the United States or the Canada squad, with many players born to Jamaican parents and grandparents. Keishore Fuller there is Costa Rica's first clean sheet at a World Cup since 2015, when of course they took on the Dutch in the quarterfinals and had that 0-0 draw prior to the penalties shootout there. Let's have a graphic as it relates to Group E in particular, because the results that took place today has really opened things up quite widely in this particular. Have a look at this, gentlemen. Spain 4 points, Japan 3, Costa Rica 3, Germany 1. And we're going into the final day where literally anything can happen. That top two could change come next week.
Considerable. And I think even though we're looking at the graphic and it shows where Germany is at the bottom of the table, they very well could go either second or first, depending on what happens. The goal difference, obviously, for Spain gives them an advantage because they've scored a good deal of goals. So it now comes down to how well you execute. So obviously that final day, I think it's Thursday.
Yes.
It's going to be a little bit more strategic for these teams because Japan, for argument's sake, they would have thought that, all right, securing at least a draw would have, seen them through. But now that they have all to play for on Thursday, it's going to be difficult. Germany, the entire Europe is riding on them going forward, I think. So coming off this performance, they clawed back. They're going to be hungry and they want to make it through, and they're a top team. So, as you said, it's opened the group super wide. Nobody's really guaranteed for a place in the next round. If you're going to be a betting man, you probably will say Spain and Germany again going through. But we've seen surprises in this tournament. So expect that too.
Yeah, something really to look forward to. And Camps, your thoughts about the groups as well, in this group in particular, where Spain is concerned?
Yeah, so definitely Spain looking like they're going to go through. But anything can happen, as you said. But that 7-goal difference, it gives them some comfort, But yeah, anything can happen in the last day. Maybe Japan can pull off a draw with Spain. That's who they're playing next. Maybe, you never know. Maybe they can pull off because they have really good work ethic. They even in the second half of the first game with Germany, they really showed that they have the stamina to be pressing and running up and down and putting Germany under pressure, and that led to them getting the win. So you never know what can happen with Japan. So just look out for that. And that would be optimal for me. I'd love to see Germany drop out first round. So let's see.
Yeah, before we take our special guest on the phone, we hope to work on that. Jeff, I need to speak to you. Come here. Come over here. Let me hear what you have to say. He's a Spaniard fan, people. We need to hear what you have to say, and I want to hear his thoughts in relation to a performance like this. You can say hello to your fellow panelists, and give your thoughts.
All right, watch me now.
Yeah.
Not disappointed in the results. Nevertheless, I expected better. We started off really good. That strike, put Naya upon him shaky, but nevertheless, I expected that we at least a 2-1, 3-1 there, but I think we saw the weaknesses in Spain's defense this game. I think the teams at home, the Japanese are doing their algorithms and stuff, They're trying to figure out what they're gonna do, but we should come out of the group comfortably. But again, I expected a win. But, smart. But again, remember they telling us, Simon, I never want we win. And then, everybody declare as clear favorites now. And if them declare now, then the target are always depend on our back,
So you say that this is strategic?
That is it. Hold it out, nice and easy.
I'm sure Enrique don't feel that way.
No, not at all.
You want to go under the radar for this tournament.
Remember, when we win the World Cup, we lose the first game, and then we just, surprise them. After we lose the first game, everybody I wonder, that is it. We are trying to stay low key and slide to victory, Simon. Yeah. I'm telling you, favorites. Remember, I'm telling you, favorites.
Today is November 27. At 4:22, Jeff says favorites. So let's put pen to paper with that, favorites. Let's see what the Japanese has to say. All right, Jamal, we have Coach Carl Terrell with us. All right, referee. Yeah, the reason why I said coach, is because he actually gave me my debut at Hillel Academy at under 14. Yeah, so it's an interesting one. Good afternoon, Sir Terrell. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well.
I'm good. Good afternoon, Simon. Good afternoon to the panelists.
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. How are you doing? How are you enjoying the World Cup so far?
I'm good. It has been a tournament of surprises so far, but it has been a good watch.
Yes, very, very nice. Thank you for the time. I really, really appreciate it. And Mr. Terrell, one question that has been on a lot of Jamaicans' minds is from the opening day is the amount of stoppage time that has been given to matches. Not only first half, but second half as well. Could you give an insight as to why we're seeing these big numbers in recent times?
Well, for one, football has changed. Football has changed to incorporate technology in the way the officials go about doing their business. And it has been a mandate from FIFA. So if 2 minutes has been lost, you add back the 2 minutes. We have seen VAR decisions taking 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes. All right. The referee on the field, he has one look in real time. The persons in the room, they have up to 30 cameras to look at.
Right.
30 different angles. So when the referee go to that area to view the VAR, it's not a clear-cut decision the first time he's looking at it. So this is one of the reasons. Injury as well. Injured players going down, you have to add back the time. Substitution. It is recommended that each substitution should be allotted 30 seconds. But we all see for different reasons, tactical reasons and otherwise, a substitution could take more than 2 minutes. So this is one of the main reasons why you are seeing so much time being added.
And Mr. Terrell, do you think that this is something that we can expect locally on the island in our Premier League, Super League, other leagues across the island as well?
Yes, I have done games in the past when I was on the Premier League panel. I was the FIFA at the time, but I went to do a game in Westmoreland, Reno versus Harborview.
Right.
And the keeper for Harborview, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, man. I was saying I did a game in Westmoreland some time ago, and I could remember the keeper for Harborview, he was playing tricks, and I played 11 minutes in a Premier League game, and that was about 7-8 years ago. So the referees are within their right to add, some would say add back the time, but to play the allotted time that has been lost.
And, you know, in relation to that point, you had some experiences in CONCACAF as well, CONCACAF Champions League and all of that. Have you had similar experiences as well in those tournaments?
Yes. Similar, but as I said, at that time, we didn't have VAR in its
Right.
entirety at that time. We had it in our debriefing, how to use the technology, and we were always told that it would be realistic in the future. And I'm talking, I've been on the list since 2018. So I'm talking some 4 or 5 years ago. But we have had up to, in my time, I would say 7-8 minutes in a game, international game, while being a FIFA referee.
Right. And in terms of officiating on the island, Mr. Terrell, you know, what do you think will be needed to ensure that, you know, our officials, you know, improve their standard to, you know, one day get selected for big tournaments such as this and other FIFA events?
Well, for one, Simon, I can say our standard of officiating has to improve in many facets. Many facets. One, how we treat our officials, not being paid on time, how we look after our officials, having to compete with the rest of CONCACAF, more say the world. I remember I went to a tournament, Simon, in Minnesota, 2007. I was the first referee to bring back a subboard. I bought a subboard for myself for $60. I bought a communication set for $300. I was the first to bring back a subboard here to use, first to use a communication set personally, and to bring back a whistle called Sonic Blast. Now, the referees you are seeing on the island, they need to invest in themselves. You can't depend on the federation. You can't depend on your parish association. Why I did it? Because I went overseas. I was accustomed to what the top officials were doing. And to be able to get to that level, this is what you need to do. So a lot of the officials here, they are just simply depending on their own country or parish to get them there. And you can't. But there's a lot need to be done to improve our referees.
Yes, clearly you spoke about the level of improvement, but on the other hand, I'm sure you're proud of our young ladies that have done well as well, the Stephanie Yee Sings as well, and Princess Brown that have gone on to FIFA tournaments as well.
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah,
I remember when Princess Brown started out. Princess Brown was in Cayman with me 2013. And from that tournament, she went straight to the Senior Female World Cup. Now, a lot of time we bash them locally, and this is what the association has been doing. They have been giving these ladies all the top matches. So you see them in schoolboy football doing the semi-final and final, in the Premier League, semi-final and final. This is to get them to that level. So when they compete with the world, they are above CONCACAF level. So while they are putting so much effort in the female, we need to give the males a chance as well. And I congratulate them because I can tell you, our Jamaican referees, they are the best in CFU. Best in CFU. In CONCACAF, I would say top 2 or top 3.
Wow. Really, really and appreciate that, Mr. Tyrrell. And finally, the officiating that we're seeing so far in the tournament. Your thoughts about the standard that you're seeing thus far after 8 days in the competition?
For me, it is better than the last World Cup for more reasons than one. I am one person to welcome VAR. A lot of persons who are old school, they don't like it. I like it because as a coach, as a teacher, as a referee, I see the games in 3 different facets. So for you to improve upon using technology, now is the interpretation of that technology is what sets you apart from the rest of referees. You get me? So when you have a clear-cut call, which is offside, then you have to go offside. But when you get to that foul, no foul, that penalty, no penalty, that is where it sets you up.
Right. Okay. Fully understand what you mean. You can hear me, Coach?
In the world. And
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead, Coach. Mr. Tyrrell.
The standard of officiating this tournament.
All right. I'm not sure if Mr. Tyrrell is with us. Hopefully he still is. Just going to check one more time. Mr. Tyrrell, can you hear me? The audio and the gremlins are with us, but certainly quite an insightful discussion and something that the team would appreciate. Mr. Tyrrell, check it one more time if you're still there with us. All right. Really appreciate it, Mr. Tyrrell. You know, we'll be in touch, and we really insightful discussion on what is needed on the island, you know.
At the World Cup, but there are so many other parts of the tournament that we don't see. So, you know, having referees at the highest level, I think is important. As he has mentioned, the females have they have really stepped up the game. Their opportunities are coming rapidly, and I think they've done well. They've represented well, and I think we just need to see more male referees stepping up and doing what is required. I think if there's less emotion involved in actually officiating and just being a little bit more professional about it, which we have seen over the years, because, you know, outside of Peter Prendergast, who would have been the benchmark of referees in Jamaica, recently I saw Courtney Campbell, and you know, there are good referees himself. That's Tyrrell just now. I would have seen a lot of those referees coming through the ranks. I just want to see that next level, because if you're an 18 or a 19-year-old football lover and you happen to like officiating, then why not? Because there's a real opportunity for you to be at the world stage if you do all the things that are required over and above the regular person. So it's insightful that he would have provided that, and hopefully people are listening and continue to listen, and they continue to lead the charge by advocating for better referees.
Yeah, there's a question for you, if it's part of your jurisdiction or not, you could advise, but there's a question asking if there's a plan by the JPL to get more FIFA referees on the island, or if that's something that Mr. Victor Stewart would have to talk about.
As you mentioned, Victor Stewart, he's the head of the refereeing unit / department at the JFF. So our job is really to commercialize and get more eyes on the product. The ecosystem requires build out. So Victor, being the head of the refereeing association or unit at the JFF, his job is to improve on the referees. I mean, they have these consistent workshops. I just think it needs more, and a lot of technical assistance can be provided through CFU, through CONCACAF, through UEFA. There are different ways that you can get technical assistance, and I'm just sitting here and I'm like, well, all right, cool. Here's an opportunity. Why don't we have more, digital boards? Why don't we get more communication devices? Why don't we get more opportunities for the referees to improve? Because once you have good officiating, then it helps to improve the play. I mean, I hate to go to the games and see where referees take center stage because nobody really goes to a game to watch a referee. You know, the fact that you are pretty much in the face of everybody means that you're probably not doing a good job at managing. So hopefully we'll get there in time, and at least again I like to set strategic targets. So I'm hoping that each referee is probably setting a target for themselves. The next World Cup, because it's gonna be in our neck of the woods.
Right.
You should have at least no fewer than 4, you know, FIFA referees representing in that tournament. Set that for a target, and you know everybody needs to now step up. Hopefully we can get that going.
Yeah, certainly something. Well said there. Jamal, just checking if Mr. Terrell is still with us or if he has departed the conversation, as I know that he said that he was going to hop back on for the chat to answer that last question. So you can just double check on that for me quite quickly, and then we can move on to Group F in proceedings to see how everything works out in that sort of angle. So, Mr. Terrell, I just want to double check with you. Can you still hear me? All right. So, yes, I was asking you in terms of, do you know if there are any plans for perhaps to have workshops or camps to ensure that, you know, the local officials on the island can come to the standard that you have been at, you know, pre-2018?
Yes, there is a course, like a 1-week course that takes place every year.
Okay.
It happens just before the start of the Premier League season. Normally, you have like Peter Prendergast, you have instructors from FIFA and CONCACAF that comes, shows the referee the new material, shows them how to operate in games if you have this decision to make and stuff like that. But it is once per year. Now, the traveling officials like, say, Ocean Nation or Odette Hamilton or Daniel Parchment, they get to go on different seminars, different workshops, because they are FIFA. They're the top ones. But what about, say, a 3-year panel referee who doesn't have that exposure? So we need more of those workshops, maybe twice per quarter, once a month, stuff like that. But they do meet, I would think, twice, because as I said, I'm not on the panel anymore. They do meet like twice a month to go through mostly physical work. So they would train, like, say, the Captain Burrell Center of Excellence. They will go through match preparations, they will go through physical work, and then maybe a half an hour classroom session. But that is not enough. What the top officials do in CONCACAF, they meet, Simon. They meet every week.
Okay. Mr. Terrell, thank you very much for your time. Really, really, really appreciate this, you know, and let's stay in touch, you know, keep up the great work you're doing, still at Hillel and of course, you know, on the island as well. So thank you, Mr. Terrell. Alrighty then. We will be in touch for sure. So there we have it. Carl Terrell, former FIFA referee, giving an insight into what's needed on the island locally for officials and, of course, the officiating at this tournament and at a time and everything of that nature. Let's now move on to Group F and the standings in that group in particular. This is how things look at the moment. Croatia with 4, Morocco with 4, Belgium with 3, Canada without a point and eliminated from the competition. Camps, what were your top 2 predictions for this group? Do you remember?
Well, definitely Croatia.
Yeah, and Belgium.
I hate to admit it, but I predicted Belgium to at least scrape through, but not looking like it. And I mean, I'm kind of surprised that Canada doesn't have a point so far, because, you know, they were top of CONCACAF, I think. Yeah, and they actually play pretty decent, you know, like they look better than Belgium to me. so you know, I really think that, you know, it's disappointing that they only have they don't have any points. You know, maybe on the last day they pull off a little upset against Belgium, and then, you know, they just pull them down with them and call it a day. You know, and then you know, I would be happy if it goes through the way it does, like Croatia, Morocco, because I don't see Belgium doing anything going forward if they were to make it through.
Really? Okay. Interesting. So like a round of 16 or so quarterfinals.
I might as well just drop out from now.
The Red Devils still a lot of work to do from them. I mean, Owen, disappointment though. The Canadians, 2 games, 2 losses, but they can at least hold their head up based on the performances.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's start by saying goals win matches, and I mean, in a tournament like this, 3 points is 3 points. That's really what we're dealing with, right? So even though they're good enough, they played good enough, they just didn't get the goods. And that's what is most important. So nothing to feel sad about or sorry, because I think they represented well. You know, in reviewing their game film, I'm sure they're going to be like, well, we could tighten up on areas like these, etc. And then, you know, the final game, you get a chance to blood a couple of young players. There's nothing to really lose from here on in. The experience for Canada right now is most important. And I keep saying, because, I mean, looking at what will come, you know, the next cycle, they will be host. They're going to be a part of the host nations.
Right.
So in that next cycle, I'm sure that they'll be building from their experiences for this World Cup, and going forward, they should be better off. So nothing to feel sad about. Yes, it's CONCACAF. Yeah, you'd want to at least, you know, have a point on the board right now, but you just play against tougher teams. And what it also shows is that the game is a global game. You know, it's world football. So they may be dominating in our region, but they're actually not as great in the other regions. And sometimes it's just a game of chances. So, you know, they may have played good, but just unfortunate. And I think in the first game, I thought they were a little bit unfortunate. This one, they were soundly beaten.
And in addition to that, you know, the likes of Davis and David in a particular, still young players. So 4 years' time, you'd expect a higher matriculation and their technical ability to be enhanced.
Yeah, and you'll find more players from the Canadian setup being exported to global leagues. So I think, you know, Alphonso Davis has been that starlet for Canada, but there are other younger players coming through the ranks, and they're going to be making waves. So I know that Canada is building out their league. They have the MLS, which is also a decent league, but then you have outside of that Europe, that the players, once they get exposed at a certain level, coming back, playing in the national setup, should be easier. And most of these nations generally have a cohort of players that they use throughout. So I'm not even worried about Canada going forward. I think they have a good program, and this is a good learning experience for them.
All right, just a reminder that it was Alphonso Davis scoring the opener, their first ever goal at a World Cup. 68 seconds, the fastest goal we've seen at a World Cup since 2014, where Clint Dempsey, CONCACAF scored in 29 seconds against Ghana in the group stages as well. On the Croatian side of things, Kramaric, he scored a brace. Also, Marko Leverja and Lovro Majer also were the goal scorers for the Croatians as they picked up 3 points. So that's 4 points for them. Camps, the Croatians, runners-up 4 years ago this time around, you know, your thoughts about how they handled proceedings today?
Today? Well, today they played, they really bounced back, you know, 4 goals. Like after Canada scored, you know, they really showed some fight. You know, they pulled it back before the half, I think. And then, you know, the second half, they really came out. They really were playing really well. I think that's probably the best second half I've seen from a side so far this tournament, to be honest. Like, they really played really well. You know, Modric, Perisic, all of them, they really played really well this second half. And, you know, they really, you know, showed good character to bounce back from that early goal that they conceded. And they played really well.
So that brace from Kramaric puts him 4th all-time in terms of Croatian scorers in World Cup history. Davor Suka with 6, Mario Mandzukic with 5, and Perisic with 5, and of course right behind him Kramaric as well with 3. So we'll see how everything unfolds, and it's quite a compelling case. The Reggae Boys, they scored their first goal against Croatia at the World Cup. Canada scoring their first goal also against Croatia, and as many people who are born in the early 90s or late 80s, remember the game was also on a Sunday as well when Jamaica took on Croatia as well. So a number of similarities between the two as well. Just a scoreline slightly different, 4-1 and of course 3-1 against the Reggae Boys some 24 years ago. So a compelling case. You know, before we have a look at what lies ahead tomorrow, you know, Owen, your thoughts from the Croatian side of things as well. A team like Belgium that has matured as well in terms of the personnel in the middle.
Certainly matured, and it has worked for them in areas where it's most important. When you think about the kind of maturity but also skill level at the still mature age, I think that's important. Croatia has always been a solid technical team. And I think it showed. Last World Cup, they went to the final, and they consistently play good football. So the players are household players, household name players. Their technical abilities, you can't question. And their cohesiveness, I think, is most important going forward. I think for a tournament like this, the semi-final obviously is going to be their benchmark again, because they went to the final last year. So anything outside of the top 4 is going to be a disappointing result. And I think this is a good way of getting back the confidence that they need. 4 goals in emphatic style, obviously, will help their confidence. And the key players, like we know, the leaders of the team, they're going to be there, They consistently give you good performances. So I don't expect anything else. This is what they do. This is how they do it. I'm looking forward to other games now when more tactical noose is applied, because obviously, they're just looking to get out the rounds now, and then after that is really, the best of the best.
So before we take a look at the graphics that lie ahead tomorrow, just a reminder that after tomorrow, each team will have played 2 matches in this tournament. And come Tuesday, we're going to enhance our coverage right here on 876 Stream. We're going to go not only from 2, but to 3 shows. We're going to have 1 at 9, because, of course, the matches starting on Tuesday, we'll have 2 matches at 10 o'clock and 2 at 2 p.m. That's the stage where we'll have 2 matches being played simultaneously, so that they ensure there's no collusion or anything like that within the competition itself. So there'll be 2 matches at 10 and, of course, 2 matches at 2. So in terms of Stream's coverage, there's going to be a pre-game show at 9. There's going to be one at 1 o'clock, which will look ahead to the games at 2 o'clock, but also recap the games that took place at 10. And, of course, the final post-game show at 4 o'clock. So 9 o'clock, 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. So stay tuned for that. We're enhancing and increasing our coverage throughout the course of the greatest show on earth. And of course, we'll ensure to keep you updated and to remind you of this as well as the tournament progresses. Day 8, still another 3 weeks to go. Yep, still, and we're still in the group stages as well. Let's have that graphic as it relates to the matches that do lie ahead tomorrow, and we'll spend some time discussing it. So just a reminder for tomorrow, the pre-game show, 7:15 a.m. and 4 o'clock. Tomorrow will be the last day where we have those time slots as it relates to pre-game and post-game coverage. But here are the 4 matches as it is Group G and H. Cameroon against Serbia at 5. South Korea against Ghana at 8. Brazil, Switzerland at 11. And a repeat of the round of 16 at the last tournament, Portugal against Uruguay at 2 o'clock. Camps, the whole country is going to be looking at 11 a.m. to take their lunch break.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Because I think that's probably the standout match, to be honest. Although Portugal and Uruguay are, is a big match as well. I think that Switzerland had a really good tournament last time around. I think they reached the quarterfinals as well, and they have some good players. And I'm looking forward to watching that match. Brazil, Switzerland is probably the standout match. But, I'm definitely looking forward to see CR7 playing again. Hopefully he can drop a open play goal this time, because Messi kind of did that, so we need him to kind of match the pace,
It's like goat versus goat.
It's the last tournament, so you have to look forward to each match that they play, so I definitely looking forward to seeing what happens there. And the Brazil match definitely is one that I want to see all moments of.
Yeah, same for you, Owen. Is that the match you're most looking forward to, or the 2 o'clock on Portugal, Uruguay?
I'd definitely. I'd be lying if I tell you I'm looking forward to see any of these games more than the other. Truth be told, Brazil right now is riding high, coming off what would have been a very solid, performance. I'd love to see how they set up now, especially with Neymar out. He seems to be their leader in more ways than one. Not just his play, but his presence. Let's see how they operate. Richarlison seems to be finding his goal scoring form. He seems to be liking the number 9 role. I think Brazilian supporters are also getting more comfortable with him as that number 9 player, because he was never really that liked Brazilian, if you ask me. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. And then Portugal, Uruguay. Portugal is at the top of the group.
Yes.
Uruguay, I think, is third in that group.
Yeah, the drew with South Korea.
So it may be a dull encounter, but hopefully for the football purists, you'll see some good football and good goals. But again, Uruguay never normally excites, if you ask me, outside of those one or two moments. So it would be more looking towards Portugal and CR7, what they do, what the combination of players at Portugal will do. But some good games nonetheless. Switzerland, as you mentioned, solid team, good enough to get some results. So I'm looking forward to seeing Ghana play again. I think that's I want to see the African teams do well. I think they have quality all around. It's just that discipline is an issue for them. So hopefully they can get that hurdle out the way and put in a solid enough performance and represent the nation or the continent well enough.
Yeah, and Camps, you're a Brazil fan. I just want to know from you, Thiago Silva, 38, 39, and still showing that he's that young. How impressed are you based on his performances so far, not only club-wise but country as well?
Yeah, as you say, club-wise, he's been playing well. For the country, he played really well in the match the other day. It felt surprisingly, to be honest. I was like, okay,
he's surprised.
Yeah, I mean, he's Thiago Silva. Like, I definitely don't expect him to, underperform.
Right.
He's definitely a great defender, and he really put on a good performance. And I look forward to see hopefully he can keep up that performance versus Switzerland. They have more fast paced. Like Switzerland has more fast paced players like Shaqiri, and they have like Xhaka in the midfield, and I just want to see how they can keep up with that, and then hopefully that can be a judge of their future in the tournament. So yeah.
And Owen, what about Richarlison as well? Because club-wise for Tottenham, not the most impressive, but for countries, it's a completely different story.
Yeah, he's relishing that opportunity. I mean, like I said, I don't think even he would have envisioned himself being this guy, where the goals are expected to come from him. He's that number 9 player now for Brazil, which is a heavy shirt to wear. I think he's relishing it and just playing his role. He's hungry. I like him as a striker because of his work rate. He's relentless in pursuit, and he's one of those not easy on the ice centre forward to look at, but he gets the job done.
Kind of like Morata.
He gets the job done, really and truly. So you can't fault Richarlison, and I think he's relishing the opportunity given to him now. He can now stamp his name in Brazil's history as being that player, and if they go deep in the tournament and possibly win it based on what they have as their goal, he would definitely be in that mix, because he's looking like that type of player that wants to score. He's hungry, and every coach likes a player like that. He will give his heart and soul for the crest. And I mean, with the history of Brazil, it's going to be very difficult for him to not do well and expect to get another chance, because there's 4 or 5 different young centre forwards coming up that will want a game.
And Camps, in relation to the midfield, Casemiro has been that rock, but there's question marks. Who should be with him? Should it be Fred, Paqueta, or even somebody else? I would love to hear your thoughts about that, because that's always been a big concern for the Brazilians. Who do you play in the midfield? Because the options available to you.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Fred, of course.
Not a Man U fan.
I mean, I'm not a Man U fan, but
really?
I'm a Liverpool fan.
Dear.
I'm not a big fan of Fred, but he seems to be playing really well for Brazil. Anytime he plays for Brazil, I've seen him do some pretty good stuff in some of those games leading up to the tournament, and
I think it's a system thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a system thing. It works for them. I mean, there clearly is a system that they're playing with, and I think that's why Thiago also is impressive, because he understands the system so well. He's probably a part of the backroom staff that built the system. So it works for him. He's mopping up. He's making sure that there's really very limited spillage at the back. And as you mentioned, Fred and Casemiro they're efficient at their job. They do what is required. If you notice, they don't take a lot of time on the ball. And they make very, very precise passes. So I think it works, and then you leave it to the tacticians and the skill merchants to do what they do best. So
because like Casemiro in the midfield is just like what they need, just a rock in the midfield, and then whoever else is there with him, they just do what they need to do, like Fred for example, and and then they have so much creative genius up front that they don't need that much in the midfield to be honest. But let's just see, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure, as a Liverpool fan, Fabinho is the person that you'd love to see at some point.
Of course. I'd love to see Fabinho instead of Casemiro, but Casemiro is, I guess, more consistent. And over the course of this season, Fabinho has
dipped.
Yeah, let's just be kind and say he's dipped.
His form has dipped.
Yeah, his form has definitely dipped. And, Casemiro is still, although he's been playing for Man U and hasn't really been getting much game time as he'd like, but he's still solid. And Fabinho has been playing, but just not playing well. So, I'd probably take the chance with Casemiro over Fabinho. So, yeah.
All right, sounds good. And if Brazil were to go on and win the title, you'd do a DJ party for them as well, right?
Of course, we dedicate a set to them. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
First flight to Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, man. Just make Neymar come up on the stage with me and thing,
Yeah, we can work the hook because Jeff have him WhatsApp,
For real? Yeah, man. Jeff, just swing the WhatsApp.
Yeah, we'll work on that for sure. What we're gonna do, before we wrap, is look at the leaderboard that we have in terms of predictions. Like we said earlier, we're doing a leaderboard with fans and also members of the stream team. You get 3 points right if you get the correct score of the game, 1 point if you get the result right, and no points for either. So Alexis da Costa is leading the way with 18. Congratulations, sir. You're doing quite well.
It's 19.
19, correct. 19 for Alexis da Costa, yes. I have 18. Jamal Tucketh in the bronze medal position with 11. Jev has the copper position with 9, as Stephen Dabdoob has 7 and Stefan Hausen has 7. So a lot of work to do. So guys, you know what you have to do. And Owen Hill, you have to put in the predictions.
My predictions are whack. Trust me. I mean, I stopped giving predictions. I like to watch and then talk about it after, because the predictions tend to be wayward right now. When I'm looking at what is happening, again, that's why we love the sport, because you really have a very, very difficult time in determining the winner. The players have different ambitions. The outcomes are different, and trust me, like I said, what I've seen, I mean, Japan beat Germany. What?
Yeah.
What?
Saudi Arabia.
Come on. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina, and these were the first games. Not just, come on. I give up right after. I'm like, you know what? Let me just watch.
And that's the thing about the World Cup. Is like every game, you just have to watch, because you never know who's going to win. And you see with Japan, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was way out of my mind. I did not see that coming. But even matches like Belgium and Morocco, but you see that Belgium them kind of weak, so you could have maybe predict that. But otherwise, the games have been unpredictable. Like even today, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of expected Spain to thrash Germany. No. To be really honest, I expected Spain to just do some things to them, So, but that was surprising for me that Germany got, pulled back a draw. But you never know which way it might go in these games at the World Cup this year.
Yeah, and still a few more twists and turns. Let's take some of the comments that we have from you guys coming in. Nunes News Network says, greetings, 876 stream. Keep up the great work and great panel. Thank you very much. Kick 90 says, and Simon, Croatia, first World Cup 98, same like Jamaica. So where we are not there. Yeah, Japan was their first World Cup 1998 as well. Brazil, Switzerland. Damn, Brazil could lose that match. The Swiss have been playing some serious ball. Quite an efficient outfit, so still a lot to look out for there. Silva Mad. If Brazil play the samba, it's over still against anybody. Let's see. We've seen so many upsets. Like every day, there's at least one match that will stand out. Which one will it be tomorrow? Only time will tell. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to ZJ Matt Camps and also Owen Hill. You guys will see them throughout the course of the World Cup as well, to make a couple more appearances. And we have our watch along as well coming up from the round of 16 stage onwards as well. So that is something you're going to have to stay tuned. Now, how do these guys and others react when a goal is scored? Are they animated? Are they quiet? We look forward to see how everybody reacts. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Join us again tomorrow at 7:15 a.m. for our pre-game show, and of course 4 o'clock for the post-game discussion. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.
Eight 7 6 stream.